All right, we are live, and I am waiting to see if StreamYard and YouTube are going to talk to each other. Oh, there we are. Outstanding. Looks like we're good. So, welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now a compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Today is Deconversion Hangout, so if you want to hang out with deconverted people or talk about deconversion or talk about the effects of deconversion, the effects of religion and how to get over them, you just need somebody to say, hey, keep at it. It's all right. So we'll see. How it goes. But we always have a little bit of fun here, just to hang out, to get away from the theists for a little bit. Although some of them, I have the patience to wait the 20 minutes of being a subscriber in order to comment. So we'll see how that goes in the chat. But as always, we're kind of here doing our thing. And I do want to thank everybody yesterday or a couple days ago, for being very understanding about the birthday party. There's an important 2-year-old grandson in my life, and his birthday is actually tomorrow on July 4th, but we had the birthday party on the 1st because, the 4th is going to be busy with other things. And my daughter is trying to make sure that the holiday, if she has one child born on a holiday and she doesn't want his birthday to get swamped up into the holidays. So we had that on the 1st, and also allows her brother to attend. But the 2-year-old was happy, had a great time. I didn't have his gifts because I ordered them a little late, but he'll get them later, and we'll have fun with that. But welcome. And so let's snazzy up a roll call here, see who's here. Fred was here early. Cranker Elder God is here. Paul is here. Good to see you, Paul. Rimmer. Long list. Big discussion today about the fun of having anxiety and depression at the same time. Hey, John, good to see you. And Marie is here. Mighty Filbert, Wolf is here. All right. So a lot of good people here. Let's see. There is a goal in chat, as always, just to make it fun, giving to the channel and supporting it. And I do have one of those already from Fred. Deconversion can be the removal of one bad reason for tribal bigotry. This is a good thing, but humanity has so many other bad reasons. Don't stop there. Keep going. Yes. I've had this discussion so many times, because when you talk about normalizing atheism and normalizing deconversion, one of the things I bring up is that religion makes you very tribal. Okay, you're seeing a pretty good example of that in my own country right now, where the religious minded feel like they have the right to impose that on everybody else, and they're willing to do legislation to make it so. So we'll see what happens in the future with that. But yeah, tribalism is bad enough, and then religion gets added onto it. Although I've noted before that many societies and cultures have their own pet religion, and it gets integrated into the society over time. Good to see you, Katie. Yeah, it could break one bad habit. Have a look and see if you can others you could question. Yes. I don't know. Tribalism is kind of ingrained into us because it's the product of being a social species. So I'm not really sure we can ever get rid of tribalism. I just wish we could extend the tribe out to all of humanity, and we, let's all stand back to back as human beings and figure out what to do. But yeah, I'm not sure. My largest problem with tribalism is it has saved our butt on a couple occasions. When there's been threats, you don't like tribalism, Paul. Yeah, I don't like it either, but I think it's kind of inherent in who we are. Just trying to figure out ways to not have it kill us. Just have ways of not having it kill us. So there's that. Oh man. Let's see. Cranky had a good question earlier that I think is pertinent to deconversion. Yeah, there it is. When you're deconverting, how do you account for rationale used to analyze your beliefs? I think what you do, okay, is once you put rationality on stuff that you usually keep in your protective box of beliefs and ideas you don't challenge, like most people don't challenge the idea there is a God or the central tenets of their faith, whatever that might be. And so you can just accept those as true, and then you just rationalize based on those things being true. So it's always interesting when you deconvert. Part of the deconversion process really is when you start to pull those things out of your protective box and start applying rationality to them. It gets to be a very, very interesting moment when you start doing that. I remember when I first started deconverting was way back in seminary, and it was, the first big question for me was, well, is the Bible the Word of God then? Because by the time I got done with seminary, it was like there's a lot of really human elements to this thing called the Bible. And not a lot of God do it. So there's that. But yeah, it's when you're deconverting, that's kind of what happens. You start applying rationality to stuff that you didn't apply rationality to before. And once the Bible goes, well, is my particular God the real one? Of course, central tenets, like if you're a Christian, does Jesus' sacrifice really save you? Is there really such thing as sin? And is there really a need for a sacrifice to atone for it? And you start to basically break down those things you've kept in your protected box. Now, if you've been well indoctrinated, you never open that box. Okay, you never even bother to even think about it. Somebody brings it up, like, is the Bible really the Word of God? It's just something you never consider when you're indoctrinated. Like it's automatically assumed. So, you can be rational and try to make all that stuff work. So, yeah, but it doesn't always work. So, let's see what we got here. Yeah, we have beer. I don't know. Yeah. See, here's the thing about brewing beer in the United States. It's always cold brewed. I don't know of anybody who does warm brewing a beer anymore. Not in the United States. I'm not sure what the Aussies do. I know that the people in the UK do warm brewing and they serve it warm. So, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of beer. We have a lot to drink about. There's a lot of alcohol in the United States since Prohibition ended. There was more during Prohibition, I think. It does not celebrate the 4th of July. Yeah, I don't know. She likes it here. And that grandson is named Desmond, and he's named after the person who won the Congressional Medal of Honor, who was a conscientious objector. They did a movie about him. Desmond, I can't remember what his last name is, but yeah, so they saw that movie and thought Desmond was a cool name. So he's Desi to me. I mean, he's a great kid though, because at the birthday party, I walk in the door and he wants to be held by me and he gives me a big hug and he gets down, he wants to go play, and then later on in the party, he's like, pulls a chair next to mine and sits next to me and and talks to me. He has a pretty good vocabulary for a 2-year-old, but he doesn't put sentences together. They're in proper grammatical order yet. so, uh, so, Western Europe did nothing to affect tribalistic communal. Yeah, it actually probably, and if you think about Europe, it seems like what Christianity did is, it's the age-old line from George Carlin, do you believe in God? Yes. Do you believe in my God? Okay. And the thing with European Christianity is there's so many variants of Christianity. Yeah. Those variants just kind of implanted themselves in countries and away we go. So there's that aspect of it. Hey, Kevin, just hanging out a little. Here are a few bucks for you. Thanks. Appreciate it, Kevin. I always appreciate the support. It's a lot of fun when the channel is supported. So tribalism could go away only if there's an Almighty God that is inside all bodies and shows that we are all the same. Yes. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. Hey, Ray. Yeah, everybody has their tribe. I think tribalism is just inherently human. We like to band with things that are like us. And it's a survival trait. Like, you got to go back to back with somebody. So it might as well be somebody like you. Hardest part of deconversion, losing relationships. Honestly, the intellectual part and the faith part isn't really near as hard as the change relationships when you deconvert. Like, I think I've told this story before, but before my deconversion, before I left being a pastor, I had like 300 Facebook friends. It's Facebook friends. But by the time the month was out after I left the ministry and, left the church and was no longer a pastor, like lost half of them. Okay. It's interesting now because I think I have 600 and a lot of them are the atheist community. So I have a bigger community now as a non-believer than I ever did as a believer. So it's much, much more interesting. So but the hardest part is the change relationships. There are so many, like, you'll hear so many stories of people who deconvert, leave their church, and then their total relationship with all the people in church changes. It's not the same anymore. So yeah, it's one of those things. Saw a neighbor reason enough to say in bed, yeah, that's probably good. There's some tribalist, but that's because the Aussies are obviously better than anyone ever. Okay, weirdo. They don't serve warm beer in the UK. Do they brew it warm? You spear lukewarm beer from your mouth. Okay, yes, good to see you. The people in the UK don't know anything about food. Okay, that's fair. Children love honest people. Yeah, I think they do. I think they love people that love them. Children are great mirrors of what they receive. They really are. If you treat a child well, they'll treat you well and be well balanced. When they reach puberty, yeah, that's probably true. It's gonna get interesting. My oldest grandchild, my granddaughter, is 11, and yeah, she's already showing puberty and teenage tendencies, and definitely driving her mom a little bit nuts already. So, because she has differences of opinion now, like she has her own opinion about things, and that drives my daughter nuts. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't want to be you, Ugh. Yes, countless cousins fighting over inheritance in Europe. There you go. Okay, your tribe is your mom-in-law, your wife, the cat, and me. Yeah, that could be a good tribe. Me and your instruments are a tribe. Yeah, it's the leaving your tribe that's the hard part, isn't it? Like I didn't know what to do with myself on Sundays for a long time. Like there's a void there. Like you're spending so much time on a Sunday, just go into your tribe's place of worship and hanging out with your tribe, and then it's like it's gone. And took a while. I suppose that's a fair point. That tribalism is one thing in a pack mentality where you're like trying to destroy the other tribes. It's one thing to have people that you band with, and it's quite another to have that band try to wipe out other people. Lifeboat, Steve Taylor. I feel like that's what I'm doing when I don't. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a lot of politicians do that. A lot of social justice warriors can do that too. Like if you don't fit their mold. I mean, I have people in the chat from time to time that I know, they've talked to me privately, and it's like they've been kicked out of some tribe because they didn't live up to all the dogma. But I hear what you're saying, Wilbert. I do, because it's I don't know. I'm worried about the slogan "American First" because it's like I think it's going to isolate us, and if it isolates us, then we'll have trouble. So, but I don't know. Hopefully, the damage done won't be irreparable. So, other hemispheres, people, Aussie. So, those of us in the Western Hemisphere, are we standing sideways, and those in the Eastern Hemisphere are standing sideways the other direction? Yeah, losing relationships is the worst part of it. For me, it was kind of the inevitability of my divorce with my wife seemed to be one of those things. So that was hard. Still is hard. Still talk to my therapist about it from time to time because it's a hard thing to do. And it really did come down to, I'm like, I want to get real help for our problems. And, her mentality was, well, let's just go back to church and pray about it. Like, that's not going to fix the problem. So, almost all pressure for refrigeration on a large scale is expensive. Yeah. Yeah, so good to see you, man. Under very hard controlled temperatures, depending on the eastern. Okay. No. See, I thought about that because Trump's been pushing the idea of running for another term, seeing his terms weren't consecutive. There's something that maybe he should consider, and I'll be honest, I would pay money to watch this fight in the political arena because Barack Obama then would be eligible to run again if Trump runs. And, because he's been out of the game for a while, there's, if Trump's saying, if you're out, then you can come back and run again and do 2 consecutive terms. Then Barack could, and Barack versus Trump would be a heavyweight classic. So I would love to see which mechanization and which popular president won that one. I'm not sure as so anybody's going to take Musk. I don't think Elon's going to take Musk. And Elon can't run for president. He's not a naturalist. He's not a natural citizen. So that's why he does what he does. So, but yeah, I wonder what that heavyweight, because we've never seen Barack Obama versus Donald Trump in an election. That would be very, very interesting to me because both seem to have their cult following, if you want to use that word. So it'd be a very interesting, as a political scientist, I would love to see that election just to see what happens. But I honestly think Trump will not run. He's getting old, and it's starting to become obvious because some of his speeches just ramble. So, so. See, everybody were feeling like turtle without a shell. Yeah, that is probably the most accurate feeling I can think of because you feel like you don't have the protections that you used to have. Like there's no, there's no relationships with people. There's no God watching over you. There's no, um, there's no Jesus that's going to swoop down and save your butt. There's no person on a white charger coming in to rescue your butt, although that never really happened before. It's just so so it's there. But I feel that that's actually probably one of the best ways that I have heard the feeling about deconverting is like you feel vulnerable, like you haven't before. So I think if you can argue that Trump can run for 2 after being out for 1, then why can't Barack run for 1 after being out for many? Okay, that's the argument that would go in front of the Supreme Court. I'm fascinated by this as a political scientist, though. I would love to see this heavyweight fight. So, and I don't want 4 more years of any of the previous presidents anymore. I'm done with all of them. So I'm done with all of them. I want somebody new. I want like new on both sides. No, Vance would not be new. Hey, Triple E, good to see you. I don't think he'd go. I don't think the sedan would take him. Or Elon. I have the feeling of missing someone after me. Yes. Yeah, it's a normal feeling. Your imaginary friend is missing. Like the person you used to talk to all the time in prayer. He's gone. She's gone. Whoever's gone. Yeah, being alone in a community of Christians is very, very, very tough. Yeah, I started this particular stream as a way of kind of, if you're feeling a little lonely, come on and hang out with a bunch of heathens. So, but yeah. Oh yeah, I can absolutely see it for that reason. But yeah, you like I live in Western Michigan, so there's not a lot of blue over here. So just to put it that way. So hey, Evan, good to see you. Yeah, he is the reason. So I'm fairly certain he is. I'm just fascinated what that election would look like. It would be a heavyweight fight, like Trump with his MAGA machine and his ability to rebrand himself on a whim, and Barack Obama's just absolute command of the English language. Um, I would find that very interesting to see. I would be blessed, heathens. Hey, Brian. Morning here. Morning for you. It's evening for us. But yes, yeah, I think getting back to Scug's life, I think one of the other thing that we've been talking about, and it's kind of connected. It's like you leave the faith and you feel very alone. As one of them put it, you feel like a turtle out of the shell all of a sudden. And so having your community back as somebody who's deconverted is really, really important. And I'm kind of using streaming as a way to keep that community together, and so it's kind of fun to do. And this particular stream is all about that, like helping people who are deconverting and hanging out with them and making sure they're good. West Lower Michigan too. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'm about an hour north of Grand Rapids in a little town called Reed City. Population 3,200. Couldn't get more Midwestern town if it tried. So there's that. Been a mower all my life. I never enjoyed church or the people that went. It all seemed funny to me. Yeah, isn't it interesting how that is? Like I I was deep in it. I was a pastor for 20 years. I never realized how phony people were in church until I became a pastor. Like when you're outside of that, it's like you just figure everybody's genuine. But once I got into it, it's like, man, these people are supposed to be Christians. It's like you have this perception of what Christianity is, and so you end up, you know, going into it, and then all of a sudden you get on, and there's a board meeting, and they come right at you for your throat as the pastor, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, back up. So it's like that. Hey, Earl. Yeah, good to see you. Speaking of which, now that she's here, I have new Earl artwork that she sent me yesterday, and I want to share it because it meant a lot to me. Because Tuesday I went to a birthday party of my grandson, and she was thoughtful enough to send me this little thing here. This may or may not be a photograph from the birthday party on Tuesday. The Fang showed up. So there's that. Yeah, Fangs has got to be the cutest vampiric bunny ever. So, just cute. So, oh. Pressed in the Midwest, yes. Yes, pretty much. Oh. Size community where I was a pastor. Depends on what time. When I was a Christian education pastor, I'm in the same town I am now. So like a small Midwestern town. When I started as a Christian education pastor, the church was probably 50 people on Sunday and 35 people in Sunday school. And by the time I left, it was 120 in two services. And my Sunday school, I think last Sunday I was there was 85 people. So a pretty tight community, a growing community, a lot of excitement stuff going on. So, but yeah, and then I went to a town of about 10,000 people, closer to Grand Rapids, Greenville, and then went over to by the Lansing area in another small town, but close to Lansing. So that kind of environment. So somewhat suburbia kind of thing. So it was definitely one that so different communities, different sized churches. But my last church, it was pretty much, I went there were 12 people, and probably the high point was about 55, and the mean was probably 30, 35. So yeah, that is cute. I thought it was cute too. Yeah, I love fangs. I like fangs. The community is a huge community. I found out early tends to be burdened when things get hard. Yes. I think of all my churches, I think I only had one that didn't do that, and that was my last one. And my last one was like an independent congregational church, and they were kind of banded together because they wanted to support each other. They usually had relationships outside the church and then brought people in, and so people already tended to have relationships when I got into church in that church, and so they tended to be very, very supportive of each other. So even when things got hard. Yeah, the coconut looks like a Hawaiian totem dudes. Yes. Coconut was crushed by the fangs. I think so. Like I think the towns, I mean, if you get into a town as small as I live in now, you have a tendency to be interconnected quite a bit. Not so small that you know everybody, but when you're like a pastor in a town this side, everybody knows you. They know you pastor a church somewhere, so there's that. But no, you have to be in a pretty small town for people to know everybody's business. And usually there's only one or two churches in such a town. So, like the church I pastored last, it is like the landmark of the town because it's a 4-story Gothic structure type building. One of those, literally a little white church you see in the photographs. Um, so there's that, and then there was, I want to say, one other church in town. Yeah, I think the Methodist church was in town. It was just off the beaten track a little bit. So, and it was part of like a 2-point charge where that pastor had 2 churches. So the coconut got graded. I don't know. I don't know if I'm talking about brewing or fermenting. I used to know. Oh, gosh, I just remember somebody complaining about the beer in the UK because it was served warm, and he couldn't get used to that. I can't remember who. I was just wondering if that was true. They're tolerable, mostly because most people don't take what's going on too seriously. I know in my church, like I had a guy that was a deist attending regularly. I had every type of religion you could think of, Christian, denomination that had been in front of me, major types. So there's that. So it was always an interesting thing with my non-denominational church. I had a very general service, preached very general, sermons, and everybody kind of hung out together and backed each other up because it was such a small congregation. It, Cranker's question was about the congregation. The congregation size matters too. Like the bigger a church gets, the less able you are to connect with everybody. So, like the mega churches, one of their biggest problems is interconnectivity. They are always talking about it. So, but a small church, you probably know everybody. Like I knew everybody in church when I was growing up and when I was pastor for the most part, because I never had a big conversation, big congregation at all. Well, my first 2 churches were Assemblies of God, Michigan District. So yes, there's downsides to that too, because district leadership. I don't know. I think sometimes people got into the leadership of the Michigan District because they were pretty good con artists. There was always money problems, and usually based on how people paid each other. My last church was independent, but they had been a part of Church of Christ right before I got there. About 2 years before I got there, they had voted themselves out of the Church of Christ because of their stand on gays in the pulpit and homosexual people in the pulpit. So, and the pastor was like the previous pastor before me was kind of a flaming conservative. So he didn't have none of that and wanted out of it. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, it depends on your neighborhood, Evan, and with churches, it's kind of the same way too. The bigger the church, the harder it is to be connected. But I think a lot of people like to go to big churches for that reason. So like they don't have to be connected. So there was that. So it's one of those things where the church, the community. I knew small town pastors like towns of 500. Everybody knows everybody. So all the adults do anyway. Shocking thing I ever heard of a church member when I was pastor. That was a long list, Anne Marie. I don't know. It's kind of a toss up because I had one woman convince herself that she was pregnant and that it was, God had miraculously given her a pregnancy. Now, she wasn't claiming immaculate conception. Her husband was still involved, but she claimed that God had given her a baby, and she showed all the signs of being pregnant until, we had to give birth and there was nothing there. I know that in one case, my church deacons had to talk to a guy who was basically living with 3 women that were all considered his wives. So that was a little bit fun. Tons of confession of, like, I don't know, brutality, just brutal stuff. I had some couples were into foster care, and some of the things they did to those kids, it was like, really, how do you get away with that and be a part of the state foster care system? So, but yeah, it's like, it was what, there's a lot of things I could list. Like, it's hard to pick something very, very shocking, because, there was just a whole bunch of stuff. When you're a Pentecostal, as long as I was, the miracle stories alone are worth their weight in gold. Like, they're just absolutely worth their weight in gold. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to pick shocking stories of why people got converted. Mostly brushes with death, that sort of thing. So, yeah, there's definitely megachurches connected pairs with the wallets. So, yeah, non-denom tends to be more liberal, unless you run into like a non-denominational fundamentalist. And the reason they're non-denominational is nobody gets it right like the pastor. He's absolutely right. Yeah, it depends. It really does. Southeast Michigan, just over there, a tiny place. Oh, I know where that is. Yep, I know where both of those are. I've been to both of them a long time ago, but I've been to both of them. So, yeah. Yeah, they're doubling down on their anti-gay stance. Yes, but yeah, it was really weird because when I got to my last church, the previous guy had been a very conservative, kind of almost fundamentalist dude, and I walked in and I was like, we're getting rid of all that. The most important thing for this congregation to be is unified, taking care of each other, being forgiven to each other, and we did a lot of things involving rebuilding some of the relationships. And within 4 years, we had about 50 people. So, and most of them weren't, it was all because I got rid of all the hard, we're the true followers of Jesus bullshit. So, and one of them was the anti-gay thing. Like, I had a big argument with one guy in the church. It's like, I don't care if they're part of the LGBTQ community and they come in the back door. If you think they're sinners, where else should they be? And from my perspective, I don't find that stuff any worse than adultery, or, like the Bible says, if I'm being consistent. Didn't do confessions, cranky. It didn't stop people from doing it with me, though. They would tell me all kinds of stuff. The reason I had a trouble answering Anne Marie's question, another reason is I still feel like there's an obligation of confidentiality for some of those, particularly some of the women and some of the other people that were going through abuse situations. And I just don't want to, some of the abuse that I heard, it's probably pretty shocking, but I don't want to relay it out of respect for them. It's confession is something that happens, but I wasn't privy to that. I had a couple Catholics in my church. It's just they were there because they didn't feel at home in the Catholic Church. So, yeah, there's a lot of the stuff you encounter as a church, as a leader of the church. I could do that. I think I've done a couple videos about that, but yeah, I could sit back and think about it. It's like I said, though, Brent, it's like I'd have to pick incidents that were shocking, but not necessarily breaching somebody's confidentiality, or, it's like, I can probably relay one because I think the lady involved is dead now, but like she relayed a story of her abusive husband who used Christianity as a justification for like tying her up and putting her in the closet and, being just like supremely abusive, all because she wouldn't submit to him. So I'm sure some of the ladies in chat will love that shit. But yeah, there was stuff like that. I heard a bunch of stories that were pretty shocking too. I mean, I wouldn't consider like affairs shocking. They happened almost every couple of weeks. So there's that aspect. Wolverines are taking over. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, for the most part. Most of us are normal people problems. Ron will you make a valid point. I think altar calls, like in Pentecostal churches, we had altar calls, and that was kind of a form of confession. If you like went to the altar and prayed and wept and carried on and all that stuff, it was like there must be something wrong with that person in their life that they're coming up to the altar and being with Jesus. So yeah, it definitely. I think the confession aspect of the church expresses itself in different ways, and so yeah, I would say the altar call is a definite good example of confession in a more dynamic church that believes in like altar call salvations and stuff like that. So let's see how much the whole abuse back from kicking their abuser in the balls. A lot. Well, there's that verse of scripture where it tells wives if your unbelieving husband wants you to stay, you stay. And he's going to learn from your chaste behavior, and he'll be won, and you'll win over your husband to Jesus by staying. Paul's advice is basically, always put the mission of God ahead of your own personal well-being and interests. But yes, there was a ton of women that stayed with their abusers. I would say a couple of men too, because they didn't want to abandon the marriage because they had dead in their vows before God. There's another video I could do of breaking down the traditional marriage vows and why they set you up to flip and fail. But yeah, there was a lot of that too with husbands, just trying to stick it out with a very bad marriage. Verbally abused men do happen too. Abuse is not, centered on one sex. So, but it's like there's a lot of situations where people stay together because they did their vow before God, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder, and they take that very seriously. And so a lot of people stay in very bad relationships because of it. And for me, once that reason was lifted, it was like, okay, I need to assess this relationship and see if it's valuable to both of us. And I came to the conclusion it certainly wasn't valuable to me, certainly wasn't helping me. And so I moved on. So, and it was a sad day, but yeah, a lot of the women I counseled were in abusive relationships, and they were clinging to those verses about we did this before God, and I just need to stay submitted to him. And, if he's not submitted to God, that's not my problem. I've got to stay submitted to him. That's my part of the marriage. And there's a whole packle of things that women do to themselves inside the church to keep in bad abusive relationships. That's another video in and of itself. So it's like stuff I saw, like, someday he might get saved and then he'll be a better man. Or he doesn't want me to leave, so I can't leave. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that people gravitate toward that. That's a subject in and of itself that I could spend hours on, because there's just so many women that were like physically, emotionally, verbally, psychologically abused in many ways, and just would not give up on their husbands because of their faith. So probably more of that than the other way around. they're subbing as yeah, they do try to conflate that. Yes, and that's kind of getting back to the marriage thing, Katie. Yes, because that's what they're kind of hoping. They're hoping that if their husband gets saved, then they'll be a better moral person. That does not happen. I've seen that actually happen, and it still didn't change anything. It's a small world. Hey, Bantam. Yeah, turn the other cheek. Yeah, it could be butt cheek, rice cheeks. Yeah, sometimes they can't leave it because the child custody laws go against them. That is true. I know too many of those legal cases. I had a few men that were divorced in my churches, and they really wanted to be good fathers for their kids, but nope, not going to happen. I've seen it, Katie, too, where they were physically abusive. Like every once in a while, you'll run into that couple that's the big athletic type woman and the little mousy dude, stereotype kind of thing. But yeah, there's definitely, once you start reading the statistics and stuff, abuse happens both ways. So there's a lot of manipulation that goes on both sides. So, but the Christian part of it really drove me nuts because it's like, as a pastor, I'm kind of hemmed in, especially when I was in Assemblies of God boy, about the Bible is how we do things kind of thing. And so you stay in an abusive relationship in the hope that God will get a hold of the other person. And it's like, if there's no God, you're kind of screwed. You're really, really screwed. And yeah, I've seen it happen before where people are just staying in bad marriages and abusive situations because God told them to, kind of thing. So yeah, it's almost like it's a myth. Yes. Yes, I've seen children. Yeah, that's another interesting one, Ronald, with children, especially older children with their parents. I've seen that happen too. So that's horrible. Another thing, religion can force people, but it takes religion to make good people do evil, but religion can force people to accept evil too. Yes, because it's not evil to you. This is the problem with divine, command morality. Okay, because it will keep you in bad situations and justify it as a good thing. So, like, I lost track of the women. Like, I'm staying in it because I want him to get saved, and then he'll be a good person. And I'm like, he's an abusive prick. Yeah, it's like, no sane, reasonable person would stay in this relationship. But there's a lot of insanity in that. So, your daughter has abused you from day one. Okay. Yeah, you only have to be free of suspicion. And there's plenty of ways to be abusive physically. Oh, you sacrifice many glasses? Poor glasses. I, I'm happy that my divorce was not like that. Mine went out with a whimper. So it was like, yeah, it was like, yeah, you can start. It's interesting. I'm having this little thing with my kids right now. With my 3 kids, my kids love me very much, but every once in a while they talk down to me, like I don't know what I'm talking about, and I don't always react to that well. I'm like, who are you again? Oh man, yeah, it's not the same thing, but you can accept so much more if you think God is commanding it. I mean, that's why our Lord Fangs doesn't give, he gives Fang gamuts, but the last one is like, you don't have to do any of this shit. So, like, there is no God. It's hard. to get to the atheist part. I think though you can be in a deconversion process before then, but man, not having my best buddy Jesus with me all the time, that was a difficult one. Near-death experiences. I think we talked about this before, but it probably bears repeating. I think near-death experiences are untrustworthy. You're literally dealing with a brain undergoing trauma, and I'm not sure I would trust any of the sensory perceptions of a brain undergoing trauma. So, like, death is a traumatic experience, and then you come back, it's like, okay. And it's also interesting about near-death experiences, they tend to be, I don't know, culturally, like if you're a Christian, you have Christian near-death experiences. If you're Islamic, you have those. If you're whatever religion you are, it tends to be that kind of near-death experience. Atheists have no, there's nothing. So, yeah, if you want to get good people to do wicked things, you need religion. And I think you need to also, if you want people to stick around when it's a bad situation for them, you need religion too. So, okay, so we're going to not only burn the bridge, we're going to blow it up and turn it into ash. Okay. And not look while we're doing it. I can relate, Earl. I can relate. Most of the relationships I've broken off have been that way. Like I don't know. I like, if you're gonna stab me, you better hope you don't need me again, because I'm not gonna be there. So I don't remember what it said. Yeah, I see. That's the thing about near-death experiences. If you talk to a lot of people, what they experience is nothing. Like, they don't experience anything when they get right down to it. And of course, the people will say, "Well, that's because you weren't really completely dead, or God knew you weren't going to die, or whatever." And it's like, yeah, okay, there might just not be anything there. Having never believed is something I'm very grateful for from my parents' side, but it means I don't have the experience and have to work harder to understand. Yeah, I think that's, like, I've seen that with a lot of atheist content creators who were never like theists, or if they were, they weren't Christian ones. So I don't know. I think the tolerance for, like, religious beliefs and people who have them is a little bit lower for people that have always been atheists. At least I've seen this for some. I'm not going to say for all, because, like, that's just nonsense. To you, it's just nonsense. But to a lot of people, it's part of the way they are. They just don't understand why people believe things, and why they stick with it so long, and so they don't have the patience for it. So, is that what he said? And the way, the truth, and the lie. Oh yeah, Bible quotes misquoted. No, it's funny how I look at the Bible now, though, what Jesus said. I don't take it seriously anymore. Yes, they're near-death experience, not death experience. Correct, Phantom. You got to come out. Your aim better be accurate. Or I go down without a fight, and I never know when to back down. It's my worst quality. Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, I mean, you better hope you don't need me again, and you better hope that when you're doing your backstabbing, you're very effective. Because if you leave me alive, you won't like that too much. So, I've been much more open with that. It's weird that when I was in the church, I ate a lot of that stuff. And now part of the deconversion quality I have is I do not let people use me. I do not let people, and that might be being a reaction to being a pastor for so long. because one of the things that people do with pastors, like I could write a book on pastor abuse too. Like people are just they think you're their servant and they treat you that way. And if they're an abuser in other situations, they will try to abuse the pastor too. I've experienced it, and I had to put up with that for so long. Now I have a better sense of self-worth, so I do not let people screw with that. So there's that aspect of I guess believe in different things. Heaven going to be a strange place where it fits everybody to believe. Yes. Yes. I remember somebody told a joke in church once, the Baptists are going to be surprised the Pentecostals are there. And so it's like, oh, wow. I remember, was it Mike Warnke that did the joke about the guy going to heaven, looks in the door, and this is the Baptist door, and it's the same room. Like it's Baptist door, here's the Pentecostal door, here's the other door, and it all opens up into the same room. And it says he was the way, the truth, and the life. He also does say in John that he's the light of the world. So that might be where you're getting the confusion. There's a lot of I am sayings in the book of John. So there's like 7 of them. So I remember that from Bible quizzing. Your religion, Pixar didn't happen. Sincerely, science, yes. It's hard to understand. They can see the foolish. I know it's just not that easy, but I haven't experienced myself. I respect those who have left. I'm here to learn. Yeah, Fred, I've always respected that about you. Like you're trying to learn and understand. And I think a lot of people who have always been atheists need to like learn and understand why people stick with beliefs so long. I think they intellectually know, but you got to emotionally understand why they stay with faith so long. And once you do that, then you get it. As it's the power of diet that makes it sense or not. You believe in it because you grew up in it. Otherwise, you imagining being without it is very hard. Yes, it's that was one of the things. What would I do without my religion? What would I do without being a pastor? For me, it's like it was the longest sunk cost fallacy debate of my life. I put so much effort into this. What am I going to do without it? And yeah, it was just one of those moments. So you really struggle with that. And once you figure that part out of the emotional connection due to indoctrination, it's a little bit easier. I don't know, maybe. Which God? I can't tell. A lot of them have hands and fingers. We do have as canon that Fangs did arrive on a lightning bolt into our plane of existence. So might be representative of that. So. Unless I get angry and start laughing, then have no control thoughts or repercussions. Yeah, okay, there you go. I realize it's unproductive, but the moment it feels necessary, I hate it. Yes, yep. I feel you. Accept bad in staying in bad relations or jobs because you think it's God's will. Yes, this is one of the biggest things that I like when people are first reconverting. I ask a lot of emotional questions if they come here, like how are you feeling right now? What I ask about background, like are you coming out of an abusive situation? Are you still in danger? Is a good question because we're on the World Wide Web here. If somebody is Muslim and has access to a computer and they're not, they're in a country that can make it very difficult for them. And the culture says, if I leave my faith, then I have a death warrant over my head kind of thing. You have to be very careful. So, but yes. So there's a lot of reasons people stay in faith. Yeah, slaying is a common theme with Fangs. Yes, he's definitely he's definitely a bolt of lightning of himself. Streak of lightning. There you go. Yes, codependency is a big part of religious aspects. I think when I broke up with my wife the first time, I was involved in an affair due to an overload of my nervous system by not understanding what I was, not understanding the autism hypersensitivity, the stress levels, that there's only so much stress I can take before I start to break down, start making decisions I normally wouldn't make. Um, Short circuited decisions is what I call them because they're not quite right. But yeah, there was a codependency aspect of getting back together with and trying to make it work. And I do think that was kind of a codependency thing. Like we had lived together so long, raised kids together, all that stuff. And to me, the situation just, okay, if we got to fix that, we got to fix that part of it. And yeah, just couldn't do it. So for future reference, it's pointing an appendage to, yeah, it would probably be a tentacle for you, wouldn't it be, cranky elder god? Uh, yeah, I have a minor in economics, so we kind of looked at sunk cost fallacy. But sunk cost fallacy is in relationships too. Like it's like you can be in a relationship that you got a lot out of it in the past, and now it's not doing anything for you. Okay, in fact, it might be negative, and you're still rationalizing, well, this was good for me. This was good for me. I've invested so much time, effort, energy, emotional relationships. And a lot of people stay in religion for that reason. Like they've invested so much time and so much effort and so much money that they don't want to give up on it. So, yeah, ex Mormons and ex JWs, Katie, yeah, that's a whole different level of indoctrination and fear. Like, there's a lot of fear there. Like, excommunication, from medieval times fear. Okay. Because both of those groups of people, they're just the whole cultic nature of those two groups just really does it. So, so there's Michael, nationally late. Yes, which appendage are we talking about? We'll make it a tentacle for a cranky elder god, just to keep it clean. I'd say this is a family show, but that's not true. All right, thank you, cranky. Appreciate it. Appreciate the donation and the joke. So that's 3 out of 5. Currently, the red, white, and blue cowboy hat is winning, probably because tomorrow's Independence Day in the United States. So there's that. Yeah, it makes sense in that context. Yeah, gosh, what is it? Gosh, I used to know all the I am sayings of the book of John. Let's see, there's I am the way, truth, and life. I am the light of the world. I'm the bread of life. Uh, Gosh, I've been out of it so long, but I used to know those by heart because I was a Bible quizzer for a couple of years. So there's that. Yeah, and social group is true, Phantom, but that's like I struggled for a long time with that one too about the social group aspects of this because my largest problem was I didn't know what social group I would have, and for a long time I struggled figuring it out. The church had always been my go-to because church people are weird enough that they can accept the weirdos, and when you always feel like you're the weirdo in the back of the room, corner, whatever, and you just don't have what you need all the time. Yeah, it's kind of that way. So it's your social group plus you've invested a lot of time in it. And I talk about the sunk cost fallacy in terms of relationships too. Like you can say you've invested so much time in a relationship that you don't want to give up on it. A lot of people cling to their bad marriages, even if they're not religious for that reason. Like they put so much time. So yeah, ex-Mormon, huh? Okay. Yeah, you're welcome here. So all right. Okay, and then, oh, it looks like we made the goal. So I have to stop. The Triple E, thank you very much. And then I killed Earl, the current leader. Oh, and it's not even close. Um, so, but it's our red, white, and blue cowboy hat, one I've wore once before. And it is appropriate because tomorrow's the 4th of July for us, America, and so America and all that. But there's that. So you guys earned it. So there we go. Welcome. I'm the cowboy rabbit atheist now, so. Yeah, church was no different. Yeah. Yeah, I have a dog. We have a dog. My daughter has a dog. The same thing. They just had recovered. So, naked cowboy hat. Oh, not quite yet. Not that desperate for money yet. Oh man. Oh my goodness. Howdy, partner. Yeah. John Western. I look good. Yeah. I don't know. I like this one. I don't normally go for cowboy hats, but this one. You can leave your hat. Oh, wow. Atheist War Room. Okay, there you go. Oh, yeah. But yeah, so there you go. This is the Rabid Atheist patriotic cowboy look. So, and thank you all for donating to the channel. Appreciate you helping me continue to do what I do and, keep the streams alive. So I was talking to a few people about that on a couple of occasions, keeping the streams going. So I do appreciate it. Are you suggesting something, Earl? Are you suggesting that? Not sure. Oh, Tom and Jerry at the ranch, really? Oh, rednecks with fireworks is a bad mix. Yeah, usually. Um, See, I live in a tourist area from like here north all the way to Cadillac, Michigan, is like campground central. There's campgrounds everywhere. And I am fairly certain when I go to work tonight, I will hear them. I will hear the fireworks starting already tonight. So yesterday I went to work and there's you're a good Southern woman. Okay. Yeah, it's like saying I'm a good boy inside. Yeah, if there was a hell, we're going there for being liars. All right. Oh, somebody asked me once on one of these streams or in a comment once of, my mental things have changed. And I said, well, I was always dirty minded. It's just now it's more socially acceptable. People expect it. Oh, you couldn't write that with a straight face. Good Southern belle. Proper Southern belle. Don't think of those sorts of things. It's improper. Should do my Southern preacher sometime. Used to do that from the pulpit and get laughs. Yeah, that's probably a fair point. I don't know. Things went south with fireworks. Yes, there's a lot of fireworks you can buy over the counter. Like there's fountains and holy crap, just all kinds of sparklers and stuff. But there's also certain states of the union that still allow bottle rockets and fireworks, things that go boom. So yeah, every year we have somebody that loses a hand, finger, eye, other parts of their anatomy because they're stupid. The real thing that doesn't mix with fireworks is alcohol. So yes, the fireworks will be plentiful in rural areas. Yep, fireworks stands ever. See you later, Fred. You have a good one, man. Appreciate it. Yes, and hit the like button if you haven't already. Selling and waves to you with forfeit. Yeah, that's probably a valid point. Oh man, I know. I work for Wally World and we have a fireworks section in the store and I'm always worried. Like I stocked it this year when I changed the mod out, the seasonal mod up in front. One of our jobs that night is to change that out. And when I changed it out, I had to bring the fireworks out and put them out. And it's like there's warnings all over the outer boxes of these things, explosive, don't store near heat. Like so. Yeah, that's one of the things about the different states. Like, I don't think like bottle rockets and firecrackers aren't legal in Michigan, but people just go across to Indiana or Ohio and get them. So, anyway, yes, booms and booze. Yes, safety. It was a circus thing, but at least it was quiet. Your personal Emily Post is your personal instruction manual. There you go. Oh my goodness. Five beers for the guys that saw them. All right. I do. I read them all because I know that's how it works, Cranky. If you read the warnings, it'll keep you safe. It's kind of like going back to the baler where it says don't climb into the baler, don't put your hand in here when the gate comes down. It's like, yeah, I want to get my arm or my entire body crushed by several thousand pounds of pressure, but there's a reason the warnings are on those things. I burn their money. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I don't know. I wish some of these people just give me like a partial. Like I've told people before because I know how much my store makes. Um, I just want like 1% of it, just 1%. I could retire. So oh, South Carolina has fireworks, and so they have to go south. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, it's kind of like we go to Indiana. I don't know if Az goes here still here, but I think Indiana has much laxer fireworks laws. Yeah, valid point. About keeping Walmart safe. But yeah, I remember I was stocking and I'm like, okay, and suddenly became very conscious about how warm it was. Oh my goodness, like there's some packages of these things that have like 40 or 50 fireworks in a single bag, and it's like that goes off. Oh, there you go. Can't always wear pants when using super glue. Never iron naked. Probably valid. Used to work with a guy that had a license to make his own fireworks for shows. Um, we have there's somebody that has a fireworks company that's a graduate of the high school here, and he volunteers his firework services every homecoming, and so for the football team, and so they always have like stuff going off for every touchdown and all that stuff. It's just a real big display, and he's a professional. So, Never Fry Bacon shirt was also a very good one. Iron and super glue naked at that same time. Remember? Oh, yeah, that would be bad. Keep the iron off. I was ironing the new, but keep the iron off. Okay. Helpful tips. See, you come to the Rabyd Atheist and you get helpful safety tips. Yeah, no, yeah. Labeling. Labeling is important. Make sure you label your household chemicals. Make sure you do that. Make sure things are well labeled, friends. It's not a good thing. Not a good thing to not have labels on things. There, we get a better view of the hat. So I don't know. Keep trying to make the beard longer. It's not slippery at all. Oh. All right. It shows with hands in his pants, got drunk and hit his wife, woke up with his hands glued. Really? So that really happened? Oh my goodness. Someone who mistook hand sanitized for lube? No. Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't work. Oh my goodness. But yeah, really a true story. Yeah, that would burn. Yeah, sanitizer. Ooh. Yeah, like I said, labeling. Always make sure your household things are labeled. Yeah, it gets there. No, it's not quite caught there. It's just they're blending into each other pretty good. Probably not. Yep. But yeah, it's perfect. You know. Yeah, the beard is growing along. It's just gotten to a very awkward phase right now. It's twisted a little bit and uneven. I have to do something about that before I go on vacation. A couple weeks. Only have 6 days of work left. You're told by the nurse in attendance. Imagine having your sorry humans don't have those appendages. Oh my goodness. Oh, you want a Viking helmet? Well, see, that brings up all kinds of questions, Paul, because do I do an authentic Viking helmet or what everybody thinks a Viking helmet is? Because the ones with horns ain't real. So the Vikings never wore those, but everybody thinks they did because of operas and things. So a real Viking helmet, at least even a facsimile, that might be expensive. Uh, the ones with horns are cheap. Mine was cheap. My hat dips just like my eyebrows. Yeah, that's probably true. Half and half. Where do I can write with my feet? Grab my ex's leg here with my toes. It was mean. Ooh, how? How? No, they were much more axes. Axes are cheaper in lots of ways. Like a hand axe is much cheaper as a war weapon. Swords are expensive. Okay, they're expensive. They're time intensive. It takes a lot of training to do sword fighting well with a shield. Far less with an axe. Axe is pretty one dimensional. Put an axe head on a piece of wood, and it's much cheaper and easier to train and a bunch of other things. So, yeah, yes, I've seen that one. I thought that was a very interesting choice for them to do for the animated one. That was a weird animated one too because they did like live action and then they covered over it. So yeah, but one horn on one side. There we go. We'll make it into a rhino one. Big stare at his toes. Yes, she does. Swords are big. Yes, people like swords, and I get it, but there's much more effective weapons than swords. Like once you get into full armor, it's better to grab a mace, something that dents the armor, crushes bones underneath it. Yeah, the only horns they really had were drinking horns. So they used the horns to drink out of. So yes, that's what it was. It's called Road Escape, where they just animation over live action. They take the live action and enhance it and make it look more like fantasy. It was a they were trying to do like the whole like 3 books, and I don't remember. I think they got halfway through and quit. So we have pictures of a Viking ship on the moon. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Michael. Yes, yes, yeah. Snow White did that with Disney too. But yeah, they just did it over the animation. But I remember they put the traditional Viking helmet on Boromir. So yes, yes, they were Michael. Two-handed battle axe. Yes, I always feel that that's very, very effective. A very effective weapon. Scares the living bejesus out of people for one. And very effective. I just like the more you study medieval combat. I got to when I was at the Texas Renaissance Festival. I kind of got to watch a couple of the live sparring matches, and yeah, those guys aren't. They're not wielding swords or axes. Most of the time, they're doing a blunt weapon because you can if you can dent somebody's helmet, you can give them a concussion. So it's like, kind of what medieval warfare is brutal like that. It's more about broken bones than anything else. So yeah, just the Viking simple round shield with a small hand axe, very cheap, very easy way to go to arm somebody. So and not a lot of training required to be effective. Very cool. Yes. 2 hands. Yes. Yes. See, when you look at it, it's like blunt weapons, clubs, all that stuff. She could be a Valkyrie. It's possible. Collecting the honored dead to the hall. Hmm. Yeah, they didn't have a lot of metal, so yeah, putting a bit of metal on is very resource efficient. That's why they did axes, and I think it's just smart. I mean, the round shields were mostly wood except for the center and the edge, and then you had axes that are wooden handle with a metal head, and that's all you needed. But yes, I like I you know I don't know. I think it was just simply more efficient. Definitely more efficient. Cute rabbit, cute rabbit. That's a spear, though. Spear and magic helmet. There's another weapon that was popular, the spear. Don't see it in too many video games. Very rare. Especially, I was disappointed that Skyrim didn't have spears. You have to mod to get them. So, hunting rabbits. Okay, well, here you go. There's a rabbit. It's probably too cute. Yeah, I'm sure they claim a lot of things. Oh my gosh, so much of Mormonism has been debunked. It's just, it's sad. It's sad, but once again, duck season. There you go. Rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season. Oh man, duck season. See, it's gonna be a fight in chat now. It's from the Lord of the Rings. You don't know it. Okay, fair enough. Not if Lord of the Rings isn't for everybody. Homer season, rabbit season, duck season. How long does the rabid atheist allow this to go on? How long? Galaxy season? Oh, you're up to galaxies now, Frankie Eldergon? Do they have a black hole or supernova season? Not really, but no, I think Mormonism is one of the craziest religions that ever caught on. Like the origin story is complete crap. So it's like obvious con artistry. You get stoned, you get the munchies. Okay, there you go. Lowry season salt. Rapid atheist. I don't know. Guess we'll see. Unseasoning pepper. Was never bunked in the first place. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the fact that people fall for the idea of a guy looking at golden plates inside a hat, it's just, it's more fanciful and definitely more imaginative than Islam, because Islam just has a dude going into a cave and getting the Quran from an angel, which that's been done before. So yeah, you get your own planet. Oh man, yes, but yeah, I just never, once I heard it, like, and then when South Park did their Mormon episode, it was like the problem the Mormons had with it was, well, yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, ancient Egyptian language. There we go. Okay, Pure Mormon. The Garden of Eden is in Illinois, and Hebrews came over to North America in wooden submarines with livestock. Oh, makes perfect sense. Worse than finding the tablets in a burning bush. No, man. Tablets if they were in a burning bush. Probably not. Yeah, burning bushes are usually a turn off to most men. That's probably true. That's probably true. Yeah, everybody gets a plan to discredit Mormonism. I don't know. You gotta give credit where credit is due to the imagination of Joseph Smith. I mean, this kid, and he was a kid when he started this thing. This kid was imaginative enough to create a religion that was so whacked out that people still believed it because the perks of the religion are pretty damn good. Like, especially if you're a dude, like having multiple wives and, you know, getting free stuff from your congregants. Yeah, it's kind of like cool. Yeah, it's mostly accurate. Planets are full of onions. Okay, yeah, there we go. That would be you, wouldn't it, Earl? I mean, you'd definitely have the onions, and then yeah, yeah, the onion earrings too. Would everybody have to wear onion earrings on your planet, Earl? Would they have to do that? Everybody have to do that. Wrote down Islam with white characters. I suppose that's true. There we go. Everybody has. It's a multi-layered planet. There's layers, layers to the planet. I'm not sure that works. I'm not sure that works. Oh my goodness. I got that chat, but I don't think everybody else did. That's the problem. Those layers will make you cry. Mandatory magic earrings to go with the magic underwear. Okay. See, I always wondered about the magic underwear thing. I mean, how is that a thing? And how in the hell? I mean, I get it. It's Mormonism because they're just, the precedent has been set for whack shop bullshit. But, you know, what the hell does the underwear have to do with anything? How does it protect you from anything? Like, and you're going to have to take it off and wash it from time to time. I don't get it. And Prince Albert was a Fangstarian. Fangstarian. Yeah, I love it. I love the onion earrings, but I still think this is one of my favorite emojis. Still one of my favorite things to pull out when somebody starts to cry about things. So, yeah, it's purity, culture, awareness. Like, I mean, I've never read the instructions on the magic underwear. I have enough self-respect for my time, I guess. Maybe I don't anymore, but it's like, are you supposed to wear this while you're doing the thing? Because that kind of defeats a lot of the fun of doing the thing, So I don't know. You wore magic underwear for years. What is the point, Ray Ray? What is the point of that shit? I want to know. I really want to know. I just never really delved into that. They believe it can stop a bullet. I don't know. Came from Joseph Smith. So did the magic underwear come after polygamy was officially banned in Mormonism? Because it sounds like a pretty good switch. I'm being funny. I figured you would pick up on it, Cranky. No, I haven't seen them. Protect you from having sex. You're supposed to wear them while you're boinking. Okay. Oh my gosh. Sweet apple flavored white wine. I got out of curiosity. It looks like it's pointing magic. Oh, now you guys are going to make me do something I didn't want to do. Oh, images. Yeah, I just don't see that working. Oh boy. Okay. Now I'm beginning to understand the humor about this. Yeah, that's not going to work. S&T. Rapture ready underwear too. Oh. Oh. I don't know. That's simply forcing you to start wearing the underwear around age teen. They're required for upper temple attendance. I am so sorry, Ray Ray. I'm just I yeah, in the drawing it does look like that. Sacred garments, yeah. Clearly lost the plot. Okay, there we go. I'm now curious about this as well, Anne Marie. Is there an underwear checker at the door? Like, do they check for this to make sure you're wearing this stuff? How do they do that? Do they do? I mean, could you like lace the underwear with enough stuff that you could just walk through like a metal detector and know that you're wearing them? I, they have extra fan while you're initiated. It looks like a Dutch fever. Number insertable and electronic concealed beneath that bar. Yeah, fair point. That might be the erotic connection there, Cranky, is the number of the electronic devices that could be used with this, because that's the only way you're getting anything out of that. Check the Pope's underwear at inauguration. You can see them through your clothes. What kind of clothes are you wearing? I don't know. I'll take your word for it that they're more fancy. I'm just not seeing it. Like I mean, I thought the Mormons were into like procreating as many babies as possible. I'm just not seeing that happen. So I just not. I mean, I'm not going to even ask the question of whether there's porn with this because there probably is. Oh my goodness, there probably is. Oh my goodness, they are funny. Yes, they are funny. The account Hercules, Mormon porn. Yeah, dude, I once I think asked somebody asked if there was porn, religious porn, and I'm like, well, go look it up, and they came back traumatized. So because there is Victoria's Secret LDS Latter Day Saints on. Starring elder balls. What an unfortunate name. Oh my goodness. You're trying to be sympathetic. I'm not. Arguments about whether they're having they have arguments about this. How? I don't know. I I don't. I see. I mean, I was a Pentecostal and I did a lot of Fruit Loopy things as a Pentecostal, but the one area I never went was what people should be wearing while they're boinking. Like it's not an area that as a pastor I was going to tell people what to do. Um, I figure figure it out. Yeah, playing solo with the temple garments. It's actually my friend used to put that when he wanted us to go. The tentacles are limp. Could you please replace this with so much? Okay, we'll go back to this because I wouldn't want Craig Elder's God's tentacles to go limp. That could affect a lot of things. Oh, oh. I don't think Ray Ray's offended. I mean, I mean, when you get out of a religion, one of the things that you can do to really help yourself get out of a religion is make fun of it and laugh at it. It really helps the deconversion process. Like it's why I like the fangs thing helps me a lot right now because it just puts it in the proper context of being absolutely ridiculous, and that's where you need to put it. But yeah, developing humor about your former faith or religion is actually kind of a good thing. So yeah, he's over it. I kind of figured. Do we need fangs and magic underwear as a fertility god? Probably not. If we create our own magic underwear, Evan, it ain't gonna look like that. We've probably just given Earl an idea. So, magic underwear for Fangs and his followers, and I'm fairly certain it's not going to look like that. So, I mean, Fangs actually wants boinking to take place, so as a fertility god, so, so there's that. Oh, Red White Sons. New product. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find a way to make money here. If you're going to have a good cult, you got to figure out how to make money out of it. I knew it. Oh my goodness. Yes, magic lingerie, magic underwear for Fangs. Oh my goodness. Oh goodness sakes. But yeah, it's like it. But yes, we now we ain't have Fangs magic underwear. Product line exclusive from the Rabyd Atheist. Uh, I don't know. I've never seen Fangs actually wear clothes. I mean, this birthday hat is probably the closest. So is Fangs more of a nudist? You know, his form of underwear is basically nothing. I don't know. Yes, yes, we can always count on chat to spark some uncringed creative ideas in Earl's brain. I will give you guys that. You guys in chat, this is where you're at. Every time, every time. Yeah, it's got to pack a decent sized character. He's a first. Okay, there we go. There we go. Fangs in his birthday suit. He's always in his birthday suit. The closest is this, and then yeah, the bow with the whale fin. Yeah, those are the two things I've seen Fangs wear. So that's it. It's a first. I know you do. All right, folks, it's getting close. I've got to go to work, and I got to get ready for that. And at least it's cooling off a little bit. So I do definitely appreciate the stream tonight, guys. We definitely got some good ideas. And I'm sorry, Earl. I got to go to work. It's my last day this week, and then I'll be off. And so Saturday we can have more fun because I don't have any time limits. So it goes so fast. But yes, but we're now at the point where we've decided that Fangs needs a magic underwear line. We'll come up with a lingerie line for Fangs. We could sell it. So it might have a fluffy bunny tail on it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to let Earl be the fashion designer for Fangs for a while. And seeing this is the first fashion suggestion. So there's that. But yes. But thanks everybody for the stream. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button if you haven't already. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate everybody who donated tonight. Keeps me going. Appreciate all that. But everybody have for those of you in the United States, have a very safe and fun 4th of July. And for those of you that want to hide from the fireworks with your dogs, you go do that. May Fangs bless you. May your carrots always be circumcised and your teeth always pointy and your vegetables free of religious corruption. Nom nom. And as always, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So you want to take all your time, money, and opportunities and spend them on yourself, the people you love and care for, and make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. And don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, everybody, I thank you for stopping by, and I will catch you all next time on Saturday.